the insertion you're not going to get to because it's all the way to the lesser trochanter, so you can't get that. So we talked a little bit about the iliacus part of the iliopsoas when we were talking about the iliac crest. That's the easier of the two pieces of the iliopsoas. So if you find the iliac crest and you go in on that interior surface, that iliac fossa, that's where the iliacus part of the iliopsoas is. And then you can kind of follow it down, and then you're going to run into the inguinal ligament, and then you're going to lose the rest of it because it's going to dive down and go a little bit more posterior to the lesser trochanter. So pretty much this piece of it. But the psoas piece is a little bit tougher. The psoas piece lays right on the lumbar spine. So you got to go through some stuff to get to the lumbar spine. Do this, yeah. So the idea here is, this is probably one of those times you want to go, okay, I'm going to push pretty hard on your belly. I need you to try not to tighten up, because the more you tighten up, now I got to like fight the abs and my obliques and my transverse abdominis and all those internal organs in there. So you got to be careful. So you can do it one of two ways. Landmark-wise, what I tell people is between the ASIS and the umbilicus is the best way to get there. But if you go straight down from there, that's really, really uncomfortable. So what I'll do is I'll come off the iliacus and go kind of up and under. Flex your hip. And it'll pop out right there. So I'm like not right on her lumbar spine. I'm catching it kind of proximal belly part. I'm palpating it like right there. Like I'm catching that edge. I'm not like literally up against the side of her spine. I'm kind of like mid-belly point. And it's a huge muscle, so it'll pop out. You'll feel it. So if you think you're in the right spot or you're not sure in the right spot, have them flex their hip. It'll pop right up into your hand, and then I can let her keep it up there. I can follow it down. Here's the iliacus part joining it, and it creates this huge tendon right at that inguinal ligament area, and then it's lost. And then it dives down into the lesser trochanter. I can't follow it any further than that. So that's iliopsoas palpation. I'm going to do all the palpations first, and then I'm going to do the concentric, eccentric, because they're very similar. Rectus femoris and iliopsoas, but I'm going to make one slight minor adjustment. And all of the concentric eccentrics are pretty much sitting. So I'm going to do, I like the palpation supine. I'm going to do all this first, and then switch to do the concentric eccentric. Okay, so psoas part is anterior and lateral surfaces of T12 to L5. Iliacus part is the iliac fossa, and they insert onto the lesser trochanter. So that's origin and insertion of the iliopsoas. It is probably your strongest hip flexor, and it's femoral nerve L2, L3. Okay. Going kind of medially to laterally, because the iliopsoas is the most medial one and it's the strongest and biggest one. And then if you come over to the AIIS, that's rectus femoris. So that comes off, and it's a relatively strong or relatively big tendon. I don't know if it's necessarily a really strong hip flexor. It's more of a knee extender. But rectus femoris, you can pretty much get the whole muscle. Go ahead and flex your knee. I'm sorry, your hip. And there's the tendon right there. Okay, relax. So now I have the tendon there, and I can just meet my finger, because then all the middle of the quads is rectus femoris. And then it turns into the quadriceps tendon to encase the patella and attach on the tibial tuberosity. Okay, so all the middle part of the quadriceps is rectus femoris. So you can literally palpate this entire muscle, all the way from the AIIS, all the way down to tibial tuberosity by way of the quadriceps tendon. Okay, questions on rectus femoris? So AIIS, or anterior inferior iliac spine to the tibial tuberosity by way of the quadriceps tendon.
I have a question.
Yep.
On the card it says the patellar tendon. Do you prefer quadricep tendon?
Okay, I was going to get to that, but we can jump to that conversation. No, that's fine. I was going to get to it more when we talked about the rest of the quads, but we can talk about it. So terminology-wise, when you're talking about the patellar tendon and quadriceps tendon, it's still one big tendon. So you have your vastus lateralis that comes this way, your rectus femoris that comes this way, your vastus intermedius, which is under your rectus femoris, and then your vastus medialis that comes this way. That makes up the 4 quadriceps tendon, or quadriceps muscles. they all converge to what is basically the quadriceps tendon here, and then it encases the patella, and then people call it the patellar tendon here, and then inserts into the tubular tuberosity. So it's a location terminology thing. So above the patella, people call it the quadriceps tendon.
Okay.
So if you injure it here, it's quadriceps tendon. If you injure it here, it's patellar tendon. And what you'll even see is some people call this part the patellar ligament, because it's technically from the patella to the tibial tuberosity, and ligaments attach bone to bone. And so some people will refer to this part as the patellar ligament. It's not entirely true, because the patella is a sesamoid and it's encased in the tendon. It's truly a tendon. But because it goes from, this section of it goes from bone to bone, some people will refer to this part as the patellar ligament. So if you see that terminology, that's what they're talking about, is the patellar tendon. But they refer to it as a patellar ligament because it has a bone-to-bone location. But that's not its entire location. Its entire location is all of this. They just refer to the more proximal part as the quadriceps tendon, and the more distal part as the patellar tendon. So the insertion is the tibial tuberosity by way of patellar tendon, and then up here quadriceps tendon. So I'm going to age myself again with my sports analogies. Jerry Rice, when he... Oh, I have a really good side story on this too. So Jerry Rice tore his ACL in his prime.